and it kind of has been helping.
Oh, cool.
But just in case.
Okay, we can open the door.
All right. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to mute you, Ulalia, for now. Ui, aloha kako. Aloha e pua me ka ohana rasi fukino. Mahalo no ko komo koke ana i kia la mai ka wa'i mai. Aloha. Oh, cool. I'm opening up my Facebook and getting that all makoko. Pehea ka pepe e pua. Ke ulu ae nei paha. Ooh, aloha to all of our friends that are joining us on our Kanaio Kana Facebook page. I see over 100 of our friends over there. Awesome. And I'm going to share my screen, and I encourage you to do the same so that all our friends come join us here for today's presentation. Can you guys believe it? It's our 43rd episode that we're doing of Lei Ānuenue. So I'm just really excited. Oh, aloha e nā hoa. Yeah, I see all my friends joining in on Facebook. So just really excited. And we're going to get started right at Hola Eva at 9 o'clock. Always happy to have you guys joining us here, whether it's on Zoom or even on Facebook. And I even went outside this morning, went for a walk, and saw that my puamelia ula was in bloom today. So I made a short choker lei, Lei Ānuenue, because it's a young tree. And so I think I was able to pick 20 flowers. And usually for one Lei Ānuenue, like the regular length, I think I usually fit about 60 flowers or blossoms in that. So yeah, it's kind of funny. My grandma used to always make lei puamelia, and yeah, she would always, like she said, okay, count when you're picking the flowers so we know how much we got. And then yeah, I used to always love mixing all the different types, because here on the west side of Kauai, we got so much plumeria, all different colors, the rainbow one, the yellow one, the dark yellow, the pink. And then I learned recently that it's all these different varieties. And yeah, and I even saw on Molokai one time, I passed one of the farms. That was pretty amazing. So, okay. Wakani no kahola. Okay, ya kahola Eva. So, mahalo nui ya oko pakahi no ke koho ana e nanea pume mako ma Lei Ānuenue. As always, we're really excited that you have chosen to join us here on our Lei Ānuenue webinar series. And yeah, we're gonna ho'omau here. Let's see. I'm gonna move to my next slide. And I know we got plenty returnees here. So you know the drill, and we wanna know where you're tuning in from. So let us know in the Zoom chat as well as on the Facebook chat where you're coming in from. And we like having people from all over, you know. I see people are joining us from, oh, yep, our guest is here from Waimanalo, and I know two of them are here from Kapa'a. We have Ohana joining from Hanapepe. Kamahao is in Wailua. Let's see, on our Facebook side, I see a lot of people saying aloha kakahiaka. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let's see, I want to give a shout out to your Ohana. Oh, Ohana Lupenui is tuning in from Kohala. Ohana Ikua is tuning in from Kalaua, Kona Akau, Mahawai'i Moku o Keawe. Aloha no. Oh, we even have friends from Louisville, Kentucky. Awesome. Maikai, mahalo nui. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. So on this next slide, last Friday, I shared with you guys and invited many of you, and mahalo for joining us on our online virtual graduation for our Hawai'i Nui Akea students. And again, I wanted to just send a lot of aloha out to all of our students from Kula Nui, but also Kula Ki'eki'e. You know, we know that these are different times for us. But yeah, we wanted to say congratulations to all the 2020 graduates. And I actually wanted to show you, so we hosted and premiered our commencement video on our Hawai'i Nui Akea Facebook page. And it's actually about 1 hour long. So when you have time, if you wanna just take a look there and see who our graduates were and how we celebrated them, go check us out on our Hawai'i Nui Akea Facebook page on our videos. But today, since you're joining in, I wanted to just show you a few minutes of one of the mele and how Kumu Keawe Lopez and his video team worked with some of our faculty and alumni to put together a great video collage, and also sharing a mele that he wrote called Aloha Hawai'i Nui Akea. So I am gonna, and this is new for me, so thanks for letting me try this. So I'm gonna show you the exact video. And let's see, okay. Resume share, no. New share, gotta try this again. Okay, I don't know, it's not coming up on my end. So let me try this one more time, mahalo. And if not, I'll just put the link in and you can go check it out. Oh, no, see, it's going to the next. Okay, I thought it was Makaukau. Ole Pilikia. We just holomua. Actually, since we're here, let me go back to that screen that I was sharing earlier. So I'll invite you to come and check out the video, and maybe I'll have to practice this a little bit more so I can show you that part of the video I was excited about. Okay. So, you know, this week is International Week of Biodiversity, and actually it's leading up to this Friday, May 22nd, is known as International Day for Biodiversity. And the theme for this year is Our Solutions Are in Nature. So I wanted to invite you to put in the chat, what's your favorite Hawaiian plant? Or, you know, and I'm trying to think of something around our biodiversity, and this was the easiest one. So what is your favorite Hawaiian plant that you get to use for food? So I'm seeing kalo. Yep, I see another one, kalo. Two answers and two are feeling kalo. Yeah, kalo is such an important part of our biodiversity and our mo'oku auhau, our genealogy. What are other oh, I'm also seeing Auntie Tammy is joining us from Halike Aloha. Aloha, Auntie Tammy. She's joining us on our Facebook page. And yes, I need to say a big mahalo out to Auntie Tammy and for helping us deliver some ono mea'ai to all of our graduates and their ohana. And so we work directly with Auntie Tammy and her team to get food out, because we usually have a get together, but you know, like many of you, we couldn't. And so Auntie Tammy was so special. She delivered it. Well, they cooked it, they delivered it, and she even like gave them lei and a little message. So mahalo. Ooh, I'm seeing all kinds of mea'ai Hawai'i showing up. So people are definitely saying lu'au kalo, tea leaf, limu. Oh yes, I've been seeing Auntie Nalani Kaneakua's post about all the limu. Ulu, yep, that's another favorite. Here on Zoom, I'm seeing wala, kalo, our native fish, reef fish. Oh yeah, you know, we also have a aikole show with Ekela Kaniaupi Crozier. So I always think about kole. So I'm excited to have more kole. Let's see, ava as a mia, of course. Yep, ohana fukino. They always have ava, and here in Hanapepe Town, when we would have the Friday art nights, ohana fukino would always have ava. So that's a really important important part of our ola as well. Okay, Maika Iloa. So let's see, I'm gonna holomua. So I'm really excited, and you probably saw it on our schedule, and just excited to have my tita Ulalia Woodside join us today. And I'm she really doesn't need me to, you know, ho'olauna her, but she's definitely you know, we've worked together on and kind of grew up together while we were at UH Manoa. And I'm gonna stop sharing now so you guys can get a little bit more closer up to me. But you know, we both were haumana at UH Manoa together, and have been able to you know, for many of us, like when we started at UH, that was like, you know, the beginning of our makua life. And so we really got to get to know each other. We all like, we're learning Olelo Hawai'i together. And, you know, as a part of Hawaii Nui Akea, we're really excited because the Hawaiian Language Department, the Hawaiian Studies Department, as well as Kapapalo'i o Kanewai, has been a very big part of so many of our lives. If you've come through Manoa, whether as a student, a faculty, or just a community member, you've probably been in one of these spaces. Halau o Haumea, at the Kamakaku o Kalani building and everything. So I'm gonna take Tita Ulalia off of mute, and I'm gonna let her introduce ourselves, and then we'll get started with our presentation. So aloha.
Aloha mai Emalia, and aloha everybody who's joining us all over the place. I hope you can hear me okay. Yeah, getting ready here to dive on in when it's time.
Where are you tuning in from today?
Well, I'm tuning in from Waimanalo, but my background is, maybe we can just open it up in chat. My background is not from Waimanalo, but welcome those who are familiar with that aina to share, to let others know if they are familiar, and we can always let folks know after, but I'm tuning in from Waimanalo today.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. Can you guys guess, like, what is her virtual background picture? Where is that? So you guys want to take a guess? And I'm gonna watch the chat as well as the Zoom and the Facebook.
I don't know how you do it, Malia. I'm trying to look at all the different chats and keep up with everything.
Let's see, any guesses? Oh, Pua is saying kiholo. Yeah, right on it, Pua.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. And I'm seeing even more friends joining us on Facebook. They're saying aloha from Colorado, from Texas. Let's see. And somebody even mentioned lipoa bread. Wow. Wow, that sounds amazing. Oh, yep. And there's another guest, Kiholo Mahukona area. Waikai, yeah. So yeah, let's get started.
Excellent. So mahalo again, everybody, for joining, and mahalo Malia for inviting me to share a little bit. I got a few slides here, kind of a lot of slides, but that's so that, you know, we can stimulate some conversation. And Malia, you can watch the chat, and if folks have questions or comments that come up, feel free to just butt on in and let me know that we got some questions coming. You know, when Malia sent me the email and let me know, you know, that what this week is all about, the first thing that popped into my mind was Iola Oi, Iola Awe. I'm very fortunate to have been spending my mornings when I can with Kalei Nu'uhiwa. And one of the early chants that we learned while we have been in sheltering at home was Ehina Hanaya Kamalama. And so I'll do that for us to get started and maybe start to get our brain thinking about some of these concepts. E hina hanaya kamalama, e hina aimalama. E hina kakamahina, kawahine ume, e homai keola ya kako, e homai kamana, e homai keola iola oe, iola oe. Amama ua noa, ua lele vale akunoe. So that, you know, for those of us that you know, Olelo Hawai'i, Iola Oi, Iola Oe, so that you have life, so that I have life. And this is a kind of a common and prevalent value and concept that we see in our pule and in our mo'olelo and in all kinds of places. That kind of tells us about how we should be living with nature. So yeah, as Malia put up on her screen, around this time is International Day for Biodiversity week, month. And so, you know, so what is biodiversity? What is biological diversity? We hear the words, we can make it up in our head, but the folks that make these definitions say that biodiversity reflects the number and variety and variability of living organisms. And biodiversity is a contraction of those two words, biological and diversity. And here's where you start to get into that Iola Oi, Iola thinking. Biodiversity is the foundation of ecosystem services. I know, all kind of wonky words. We can talk about them a little bit more if folks have questions. But basically, it is all of those living organisms to which human well-being is intimately linked. And that's Iola Oi, Iola Awe, or Iola Oi, Iola Mako is something else that we know we've heard for many years now, comes out of a different mo'olelo. We know there's no feature on our honua that is more complex and dynamic and varied than that really thin layer of living organisms that occupies the surface of the land and the seas. And there's also no place, no feature that's experiencing more dramatic change than that very important layer of living organisms on our honua. So I just want to share a little bit more about that concept of Iola Oi, Iola Oe that comes from our traditions. And here is another pule, this one specifically dealing with the forest realm and with laka. No ana laka I ka ulu vehi kuana I luna I mo'ohelai. O hi aku I luna o mauna loa, aloha mai kaula naula ia u. Eia kaulala he ulaleo he uku he mohai he kānai nai, he alana da uia o e laka e maliu mai oi I pono au a pono au. Pono kauai. Our kupuna were brilliant in helping us just be reminded all the time about the value of the biodiversity of our place, and then also the values that we need to have in order to continue to thrive and live in this place. And that comes back to this oe, mau, kaua is what it really comes back to. It comes back to recognizing that us Kanaka and our aina and our kai are in a kaua relationship. And so those that are not Ma'atuolelo Hawaii, I think you got to listen, go check with Malia when the Ekela and those guys have the lessons, so we can talk more about what that kaua relationship is that we have with this place.
Actually, can I make a quick comment?
Oh, absolutely. Jump in anytime.
Yeah. Can you go back to that last slide?
Absolutely.
As you were saying about just the like really basic Olelo Hawaii, like those last 3 lines really spoke to me, you know, and I love the Emaliu Mai. You know, that part, like it's a really gentle kind of feeling. That's what I get from it. But then in those last 3 like little phrases, ipono au, apono kaua, like you're mentioning, like for those of us that have done some work with Olelo Hawaii and have incorporated that into our life, like those little words, e and the a right there, like changes it so quickly with one word, right? Ipono, and then apono, and then again changing the kaua at the end, like totally beautiful. I love it. Mahalo.
Yeah, it's I've used this chant so many times, it sticks with me, and it is because of those little things, just simply genius kupuna, I tell you. Very quickly, a little bit about myself for those of you that don't know. My commitment to Hawaii and to the native biodiversity of this islands and to the culture that sprang from this island is rooted in my parents and in their genealogy. On the lower left side, I think, of your screen is my papa. He was an ornithologist and a naturalist, and he instilled in me a sense of awe and responsibility for Hawaii's, you know, fragile and resilient natural environment. We frequently visited places that were his projects, and one thing as a young child is I watched him work hard to recover Hawaii's disappearing species, most especially the nene. At that time, there were these articles in the National Geographic magazine about the nene being the world's rarest goose. Some of you have heard me say this before. Now it's kind of, some people think of it as a nuisance on the golf course in Kauai, Malia. I went one time with Lee Ho, I forget to what place, and man, those nene are kind of a pain in the behind. From my mother, you know, I learned Hawaii's histories, lifeways, and most importantly, my cultural practice of hula. And as I danced about, you know, places and birds and plants and fish and our ali'i, all of those things became a foundation upon which I have been able to just continue my love for Hawaii. Very, very fortunate to have experiences and teachers along the way that have been patient with me and have continued to share wealth, and peers that, you know, that I find opportunities like spending 9 a.m. with Kalei to learn new oli and things along the way to continue to do what we can to care for Hawaii. And it's important, you know, that we care for Hawaii, because as a community, you know, we're a world at a crossroads. We hear in the news about what's going to happen if temperature increases by 3%. We already seen king tides and more severe storms here in Hawaii. You know, what happens when that goes up some more around the world? People are suffering with air quality issues. We're very fortunate here in Hawaii. We look at fisheries around the world, and we know that we are so smart as a species, humans are. You know, we create better technologies and systems so that we can literally fish every fish if we wanted to, right? We now have the mechanism to look on a screen and we can see beneath the ocean, you know, where all those fish are. So how do we ensure that we do this better? And we know that there are just really across places, just species that are being lost all the time, and including here in Hawaii, if we're not careful, our treasures here will be lost. We can think back not that long ago that there was a time when Hawaii was 100% things that got to Hawaii either by wind or by wave or by getting wing, by getting stuck in the feathers or on the mud of the feet of birds. That's how things got here, and they evolved together to create that biodiversity, a place where ferns and birds and insects and snails and fish and limu kind of evolved all together. About 300 years ago, Kanaka show up, and at that time we can say the population between 600 to almost 1 million. At that time, we have still 85% of our native ecosystems are still in place. As a people, we've kind of colonized those places where we can live and where we can have food. But as a society, as an island community, we're still 100% self-sufficient. We rely on our own lands and seas for protein and for water and for vegetables, etc. House building materials, clothes, everything from this place that we're looking at. And then if we just look a few years ago, that number, probably maybe 4 years ago, that we're at almost 1.4 million people. We flipped it around completely. Only 15% of the plants and what we see, our ecosystems here in Hawaii, are actually native to this place. And we have certainly, as Kanaka, moved in everywhere. And depending on the island, but an island like Oahu, we pretty much rely on the outside. For most stuff, for 85% of our stuff, we rely on the outside. But as we think about Hawaii and we think about what we have here, of our reef fish that we have, 52% are endemic. And I don't know if everybody knows what endemic means, so we'll talk about that a little bit. So if we look at all the fish you see on the reef, more than half of them, a little bit more than half of them, only exist in Hawaii. Their ancestors, their kupuna, came here and they evolved into separate species that are now only found in Hawaii. That is pretty amazing. If you look at our flowering plant species, what we see there is we have 89% endemism in the plants that came to Hawaii, either floated here or came here on manu, or seeds were blown here. Of those flowering plants that we saw in that image of the island, 3,000 years ago, 89% are found nowhere else in the world. That is amazing. So then our kupuna, as they come here, they want to make sure that we don't forget this and that we know this. And they document it in a number of different ways. We have many different, mele ko'ihonua, cosmogonic genealogies that kind of, and they happen in this type of format. This on the screen is a section from the Kumu Lipo, from part of the early section, which starts to talk about, things being born and going through just really this ka'ina and this inventory of things that are being born, and also their relations to each other, and their relations to things on the land, and their relations to things in the ocean. And together, this is a culture that's shaped here by that endemism. So yeah, we came from places in Polynesia. We brought some things with us, but man, this place and the way that the wind touches the ocean and the way the rains form here and all of that endemism that we found here is shaped us as a people. I'm going to go back a little bit and point to this picture in the lower right hand side. Anybody know what that plant is on the lower right-hand side? Malia, you can check
Yeah,
the
let's
for us.
put it in the chat.
Anybody know that plant there on the lower right-hand side?
Oh, Cheryl is guessing mamaki.
No, not mamaki. Good, close.
Yeah, that was a good, that's actually what I thought. I was gonna throw that out too, that it looked like mamaki, but those little white flower thingies on it is what was like, I'm not sure.
That's not how mamaki kind of does that. And the leaf shape, depending, is a little different. We're gonna see if anybody, this plant just became integral to our kupuna's lifeway here, and we became kind of famous for it. We became famous for it when the whalers were coming around here with their big ships and giving clues.
There's another guess of olona.
Aye, yes. So think about that, right? Think about, that's, to me, that's, I could have think about some other pictures and put them up here, and I might do that next time. But you know, that's endemism influencing our culture, right? In a way, and how we use that. They never have olona where, you know, where they came from. Had other stuff that we use, you know, aha and things like that, and new and ho, but that olona is endemic to Hawaii. And so, you know, that also gets documented in our kumulipo, in those records, and our kupuna quickly and astutely recognize, we better aponoao, apono kaua, or iponoao, aponoao, and apono kaua, so that we can ensure that those things thrive. We know stuff's changing around the world. Big storms we see there, Kauai underwater, fire coming across our places where it's hot, you know, whole landscapes, that middle picture on the ground, whole landscapes changed because of species that are from other places. That tree and grass, not from this place, creates a whole different landscape, which then, you know, can erodes, and we see topsoil moving down onto the ocean and changing things. We also know that, you know, there are not only natural threats, you know, us as Kanaka, we do some strange things sometimes, and you know, we are across the world, and sometimes here in Hawaii, we're catching more fish faster than they can naturally replenish. But we also know that aloha aina and malama aina is taking on different ways and looks different. How we are pono looks different nowadays, and what it means for us to help live in a way where we can thrive and our islands can thrive. It looks different nowadays. But we are also, I'm hopeful, because we also see these changes where with a little bit of effort, we see places that plants and species were having a hard time surviving. We see that, you know, just a couple years later, we see that they can come back if we take care of certain things. We see that where places where we used to see lots of runoff from denuded landscapes, we can do our part and we can help to change that, and not only change the landscape, but also help that sedimentation on our reefs. We also know that we can change back different land systems that we had before. One of those pictures that I showed where the trees and the grasses were all non-native. In this picture that you see here, with a little bit of help from a bulldozer, we see a place that once was a koa forest, and then the trees were cut down and other grass was managed in there. We see that with a little bit of help, we can restore that forest that's there. And as a counter to that picture of all of those fish that we saw laid out in the driveway, we also see that as a community, we're coming together and making different choices. We're making hard choices. It's not easy. I was there as the community came forward and made this hard decision to just rest ka'upulehu, and in 2 years' time, We've seen a 60% increase within that area of wrasses like Hinalea inside there. And within that area, we see 30% increase in uhu. And we know how we like that. So we saw in that picture all the reds and blues uhus laid out there, with a little bit of sacrifice from this community. We see that change in just 2 years. We thought that we wouldn't see some of that change for 5 years, and we're surprised when we started to hear from the ohana down there. Hey, there's more fish. We can see them in the water. Got to come down and take a look. Just right outside of this rest area, we see what's called the spillover effect, where about 3% increase of these same species outside of that area. So we know, I don't know, Malia, you have a question?
Yeah,
Malia?
no, I was going to throw out something that made me think, you know, here on Kauai especially, and actually right now during this pandemic and dealing with COVID-19, I think in a lot of our friend circles, we're having these discussions, right, about envisioning our communities, because we've had to close down, you know, like just in these few weeks, we're starting to see these changes, which has been exciting. And, you know, just recently when on Kauai, when we experienced all those floods on the Hanalei and Moku, just watching our community start to thrive in that area, I think we've seen that, yes, it's been difficult at times to deal with that transition where we're so ma'a to always having everyone from tourists to community members, local families enjoying the space. But then when we let it rest, what it's doing, and like in that example you shared, just within 2 years, you could see that big difference, you know. And yeah, those are some exciting discussions that I like that our communities are having now.
Yeah, you know, I should find the reference to it. There actually, I think, is a recent article about Hanoma. And of course, you know, that's a place where just every day, except for the Wednesday, I think it's closed on Wednesdays, or it's closed like one day a week, I think. But basically every day, thousands of people, maybe it's hundreds and quite close to thousands of people, head down to Hanauma Bay to snorkel with their sunscreen, with who knows what else, stepping all over the corals, etc. And so the folks that are down at Hanauma have been doing some observations and have been doing some surveys, and just observing how differently fish behave. And of course, I'm not telling anything a Lavaita doesn't know. So I'm not trying to make like I'm somebody who knows this better than a Lavaita. I definitely do not. So, you know, some of our friends on there, we know that when Kanaka are around regularly, I'a behave a certain way. When they're not around regularly, we can actually see I'a behave as I'a do behave in their natural house. You know, same thing like us. You know, we have visitors all the time. We behave a certain way in our hale. No more visitors all the time. We might behave a different way in our hale. But I think what we see in our communities, what we saw down at the Ha'ena side after the floods and when the road was closed, what we see right now happening across Hawaii and around the world, where we've got less people moving, we're seeing changes. And we know that, you know, there are many places that hold the key. But truly, I believe, and my philosophy and my view is that Hawaii really does hold a key, certainly for us, and that comes from looking at that traditional knowledge that we have that's evolved from a culture that evolved from the natural endemism and the natural biodiversity of this place, and our traditions that come from that of how to live here. And we continue to learn, every single one of us continues to learn different things from around the world. And when o ka mea mai kai, we malama, o ka mea mai kai ole, well, we can kapai that. But with the latest advances that can help us to continue to realize this pono, right? To realize how we can best ensure that our place and the systems in this place continue to thrive, and that so that we can as well. I think, talking about what I just shared before and coming back to this pule that's here, it's, we recognize the life-giving forces in their places. Whether it is the i'a and the limu on the reef, or in this case, the forest trees, we recognize where they are. We recognize the system that is in place, whether it is the atmosphere that touches down in the clouds that are created up in our trees, or it's the way in our oceans, the temperature in the moon causes spawning in certain ways. And what's interesting in here is there is a sacrifice that we give. And sometimes that sacrifice might be that we just don't take everything. That payment, that appeal, the way we show that our offering might be what what Ohana have done in Ka'upulehu, is to make that hard choice. Same thing where we might choose to gather or not gather, the times that we might choose to do that. All of those things, in addition to our intent and our voice, that offering can be our way of paying. I mean, that's not English kind translation, but really of helping to be a part of this, right? We have to do our part. We have to water and plant and give of our time in order to do that. And I too love that word maliu mai, e maliu mai oi. It's not, we recognize the hierarchy in the relationship, right? It's not a demand, it's not an order, right? And that helps us to recognize the hierarchy in the relationship. There meant, several of our oli talk about this really intimate sharing. Aloha is an intimate sharing. Aloha kaua is an intimate sharing as well. As we drink the water here, we breathe the air of this place, we eat the mud and the microbes of this place, and the sand of this place. All of those things are that aloha and that sharing, and they are that kaua, and they shape us every single day. I very much believe that o Hawai'i ka onohi o na kai, and this image here where we see us standing together, holding hands, some of these, and I had the video in before, but I was too scared to try play video, and but this comes from the Mele project, Hawai'i Aloha. And this thing that we do in Hawaii it's not totally unique around the world, but this is a unique thing for us, right? We stand around in a circle like this and we hold hands. We do the best that we can all the time. And then when we do this, we affirm through our words and our pledge, Mau ke aloha no Hawaii. We say the words of all the things that we value of our homeland. And we do it to each other. We face each other and we share it in shared voice. There's lots of literature and research out there about the value of singing, about the value of singing together, about the value of holding hands. When we hold hands, when we sing together, it reduces stress. Our heartbeats start to beat in rhythm, and we start to breathe together in rhythm. Singing makes us breathe together in rhythm. And as you spend more time reducing stress with each other, holding hands and breathing in rhythm, our values start to become synchronous, and we start to share and affirm those values that we have. And so there's all of these things that we do, from the way in which we plant, to the way we fish, to the way we care for kupuna. All of those things are rooted in the biodiversity of this place. Yeah, so I want to pause there for a moment before I think one more slide after that. But if we have any questions coming in, or Malia, anything that you want me to share a little bit more about?
Yeah, I see. I'm really thankful for Auntie Penny Martin is joining us today.
Oh, aloha, Auntie Penny.
Yeah, her comment here says, we have to think of ourselves as stewards instead of entitled. And I really mahalo that.
Very, very, very true. Certainly, you know, for generations, Auntie Penny has guided us in the community, and shared those values with us, and has been a role model of those values. So many of us in our community, so fortunate to have Moloka'i on the line today.
Yeah, even Uncle Walter Riddy is joining us on Zoom.
Hi,
today.
Uncle Walter.
And then, you know, there was also a comment, I think it came up when you had the slide on Aloha Kaua. And a comment that Lopaka makes here is that it breeds for you and for ours.
Yes.
And I think that's really beautiful as well.
Yes.
So yeah, mahalo.
You know, there's so many, as I love hearing those voices, so many on the line, you know, have been doing much for our Hawaii for a long time, their lives. Also, you know, those that came before in their ohana. There's always, I feel sometimes like, you know, we really busy, you know, got lots of stuff to do. And yet there is still so much for us to do. I think some on the line may have already looked at this website that I have up here on this screen. But right now we have an opportunity with this pause. You know, in our time, visitors not coming in the same numbers that they did before, an ability for us to just so demonstrate our community commitment and aloha as we're caring for our people, caring for our families, feeding each other, growing more of our own food, even in our own gardens, etc. You know, we can how do we amplify that voice? How do we raise that voice? How do we gather those ideas, and how do we find ways to share them? There's lots of, we're not the only ones that are recognizing this kind of unique time that we have. And there are many efforts, and I think there is value in many efforts raising voices, and I want to pai and to support everybody who wants to try and ensure that Hawaii continues to thrive. This is one place where you might want to go take a look and have your voice be heard, but help share ideas. I think, you know, really importantly is help share ideas to come together and help build that vision.
What's the website for this Aina Aloha?
I knew you were going to say that. I think it's aina'alohafuture.com. I don't have my it's on my iPad, and now my laptop is now with this thing on it. So let me just double check. I think it's Aina Aloha Future. Yep. So all one word, no diacriticals, aina'alohafuture.com.
Okay, mahalo.
I should have put that on there. Maybe I'll get better at that.
It's okay. We can we'll put it in the Facebook chat so that others can go check it out. So aina'alohafuture.org.
.com.
Oh, .com. aina'alohafuture.com. Yeah, go check them out, you guys, and share your ideas. I mean, this is I can I've signed on to this Futures Aina Aina Aloha Economic Futures Declaration. And it's, yeah, so many of us are very supportive of it. So it's a great time. Great time to,
and it's
raise
the
your
it's,
voice.
it's the beginning of a collaborative effort, right? So it's a, and you'll, when you go on the website, it's a process, it's a beginning. There are others that are happening. Like I said, support those, raise them up also, because I think all of the voices coming forward and sharing help to send a message that we can do different and we can potentially do better.
Mhm.
Very good.
Oh, mahalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so any other, oh, and how can people connect with you and the Nature Conservancy? I think you had a slide earlier.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, so go check out Ulalia, and she's currently the executive director for the Nature Conservancy here in Hawaii.
Yep.
And they have a Facebook page, a Twitter, as well as an Instagram account. So always good to connect and, you know, find ways that, you know, individuals, ohana, and communities can work together with nonprofits just like TNC Hawaii. So
Yeah.
mahalo.
Yeah, mahalo anui loa. You know, if the Conservancy has been working in Hawaii for, we've had a program in Hawaii for 40 years. We've been working in Hawaii for 50 years. And to be frank, it's an evolving organization, right? You know, and like all organizations that have been around for 4 or 5 decades, you know, things change. And we certainly, you know, we certainly over the years have tried to be relevant to Hawaii and to respond to the greatest needs that we have in Hawaii. So reach out, check us out, connect with us. I think we probably have family and friends that might have worked with the Conservancy from time to time, or you've partnered with some of our partners from time to time. But certainly we're definitely committed to help protecting the lands and waters in Hawaii that our life depends upon.
Mahalo. So yeah, we have time for 1 or 2 questions. If anybody wants to add any questions to the Zoom chat or to the Facebook chat. Yeah, we have a few more minutes. So this is your opportunity to share. And I like Lona shared earlier that there's even research that talks about grounding ourselves and taking off your slippers and go walking on the honua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those things which, you know, we sometimes we do without, just because it is what we were raised to do and in our traditions and in our family. You know, now like my slide over there said, you know, the key is really in looking at the lifeways and the traditions that come from places, right? And for us, Hawaii is our place. The traditions that come from our lifeways and our place here, you know, taking off our shoes when we stand and we pule or we gather in a circle, we ground ourselves, and then we connect with each other, and then we lift up our voices in unison to share our commitment and our aloha to each other and to this place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of hearts going up on our Facebook page, and again, people just really thankful and saying that, like Auntie Penny said here too, mahalo for sharing. People need to hear this over and over so we don't get too comfortable in our ways and forget the impact of our individual behaviors.
Yeah, so very true. I see some other go, our kupuna said, go kahakai. Absolutely, you know, one of the best things that we can do, you know, I put up that slide, you know, raise your voice, share your ideas. You know, the closer we are and the more observant we are and the more we engage with Hawaii, that helps to shape our ideas the same way it did our kupuna. So the more we can go outside and we can go kahakai, or we can go even to the mulivai we might have, or the kahavai, or wherever it is. And even in our town places, what is the wind like? Are the trees looking good? What is the ocean like? we notice that time over time, then when things like this happen, people can say, I get more fish on the reef right now, or the water is, flowing faster, or more is coming down, or all of those things. And then we can collect those as a whole community and raise our voice together and say, yeah, this one's not good, or this one is better. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking too, like, when like there's all these international days, like it's, for this week and leading up to International Day of Biodiversity. And then there's also like Earth Day. And, sometimes I'll post things like around like celebrating Earth Day or something. And then everybody's like, well, every day is Earth Day for us, which is so true. I mean, and I kind of like to just use it as a way to bring it to the forefront again, because sometimes we get so caught up in everything we're doing. And like, I like to look at these things, and I know from it's launched at a global level, so it's a global movement, and I was really excited on yesterday morning. I helped to host a meeting that had representatives from Nairobi, Kenya, and from Russia and Guatemala, and just different places. We even had Zoom has this function I just learned about where you can have an interpreter, and then there's different audio channels.
Wow.
And so we had a Spanish interpreter so that we could all just keep, it was simultaneous interpretation. And so of course I was thinking like, ooh, we need to do something with Olelo Hawai'i, and using that feature. But yeah, that's been really exciting to just celebrate it together. It's something we're doing globally, and everybody's focusing on biodiversity and the traditional knowledge, like you said, as being a foundational solution. So mahalo for reiterating that.
Yeah, and I want to pick up on that, every day is Earth Day. Agree 100%. But, and as Auntie Penny said, we cannot get complacent at times. So for instance, I think last month was the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. I might have my years wrong, but it was a long time. I think it's 50th anniversary of Earth Day. And things were bumped, when before Earth Day, some of the kupuna remember in other places, across America, rivers were on fire. That was in LA. In LA still had plenty smog. Air quality was still bad in a lot of cities, all of these types of things. And we, 50 years later, we gotten a little bit complacent. But what we do know is that those laws can be changed. And some of them are being changed to relax some of the restrictions that were put in place that helped the rivers stop burning, and for there to not be as much pollution in the rivers and in the waters, and for the air quality to be better. That can always change. So every now and then we kind of get complacent, and by celebrating those days, or reminding ourselves, we can go back and say, hey, are we better off than we were, when we first established this, and what can we do differently? So I think there's a good point in just acknowledging let's pause and think, what can we say about our place and what's happening on this day.
Yeah, I'm seeing another comment here that just came up on my Facebook. It says, these things are written in our na'au and resonate with us when we hear them. An excitement that is a good feeling to have. Would love to hear it every day.
Yeah. Yes, wonderful. That's just fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, a way to continue to bring this into our daily practice is, like you mentioned, having a practice that includes our oli and our pule, right? And really starting our day, like we hear so many people say, start your day with gratitude. Start your day with connecting to the aina and to the kupuna. And I think that's exactly what our oli and our meleko ihonua, and even if maybe you're just getting started by learning oli, even like something as simple but complex like ehomai, that's something more and more ohana, even our ohana keiki are learning. So if ehomai is maybe just the only oli that's a beautiful oli that you can start with every day. So yeah, we want to encourage all of you to really find And if you don't have a daily practice like that, you know, connect with a practitioner in your community. Join us on some of our Papa Oli. I think I need to do a Papa Oli with someone. Maybe I'll reach out to Auntie Hoku, or, you know, to come and share some of these Oli and stuff. So mahalo nui e Ulalia.
Mahalo ya oi Emalia no ke kono ana mai.
Yeah, and oh yeah. Pupu Hihivai is saying Kanainai together is doing this every morning po akahi to po alima. Ay, mahalo nui. So any closing manao before I bring up my closing slides here?
My closing manao is, you know, I think one of you read it in the comments, you know, these are things that we've learned along the way, what we've learned from those living here in Hawaii. And I think connecting to this place and connecting to those traditions of this place really is the key for us to find that pono for ourselves and then for this place, so that it continues to be able to support life and thrive for many generations to come. Find those places to join, like Kanainai together, and also, you know, go look. Aloha Aina Futures, Aina Aloha Future .com. You know, there are ways that you can help raise a voice. Not just that way. Take care of your ohana. Take care of your place, wherever that might be. When we are strong and resilient in our ohana and in our community, then we can also lend that strength and that resilience to this place. So mahalo anui loa.
Ay, mahalo. Yeah. You know, there were also some comments as I bringing up my screen that, you know, we need to hear this over and over. And they were asking, is this being recorded so we can go back and watch it? And definitely, it's going to be live here on the Facebook page. It's also going to be live on our YouTube as well as our Vimeo channel. And, you know, if you're coming across this on Facebook, share it so that others can see it. You can even mark it as a saved video and go back and watch it. And, you know, even take a closer look at the mele that were shared in there. And if that's something you want to learn more about, you can, you know, talk to some of the practitioners that are using these oli, and find other oli and pule that you can use on a regular basis. So yeah, it's being recorded and we'll live there. So feel free to go back and watch it again. So as usual, as we're coming to a closing here, we want to ask you to go on to our website here, kanayokana.net/survey. It'll take you to a Google survey. And I think we have like 6 or 7 questions there. It's very simple, should take you a minute and a half. There's even a portion in there if there are any particular topic areas you would like to learn more about, or maybe even a oli that you would like to learn, or even a practitioner you would like us to be connected with. Let us know in that survey. You can also optionally share your email there, and I'll add you onto our email listserv so that you can get an update on all of these upcoming presentations. So I wanted to also tell you how you can always find out the most updated schedule, and you can go to kanayokana.net/lei. And there, besides finding out about Lei Ānuenue episodes, you can also find out more about the Aikole with Ekela Kaniaupi Ocrosier, and these are all Olelo Hawai'i sessions. So there's some really exciting things coming up this week. We've also been partnering on that schedule. You'll also be able to see what the Office of Hawaiian Affairs is doing with their Aloha Rising series and talking about civic engagement. We're also partnering with Kua Kanaka and the Kukahakalau and her ohana, sharing about Namo Olelo Kahiko, even with Ahakane, and just so many awesome partners that are doing all kinds of remote learning and online distance learning. Oh, and last week we even started to share the Mele Hulia Mahi with Pueo Patama on Maui. And that was really exciting to see Mele and just some of the things that they were dealing with in their community. I learned so much. And, you know, there's so much that also I see as similarities, not just for Maui, but here on Kauai and throughout our aina. So yeah, go to our schedule and you can find out more there. You know, I will say that because of the Biodiversity Week, on Thursday, if you come back, you can learn from our friends from Ho'oulu Aina. They're going to be talking more about medicinal plants and then also doing a DIY on making a body butter with some of the la'au. And then on Friday, we're going to go on tour at Kapapalo'io Kanewai with Makahiapo Cashman. So I'm excited for that too. So come on back and check out what's coming up next. Again, a big mahalo to all of our partners. We've even started going live on Indigenous Portal's Facebook page, but stay connected with us. Follow us on either Facebook or Instagram for both Kanayo Kana as well as Hawai'i Nui Akea. And that's how you can always find out more things that are going on in our community. So again, aloha to everyone and a big mahalo to Ulalia for coming and sharing a part of her practice and just a little bit about the amazing work that you're doing. So aloha.
Aloha, mahalo.